Okay, I can't believe I'm doing this, but I'm actually going to give you a quick tour of the Steam controller. I apparently have one of the original 1001 Steam controllers, and it's extremely unusual device holding it for the first time. Like, here's like a normal, this is the current Steam controller. It's done by Hori. This is a special purple edition that was available only in Japan, and I had my friend Silver send it to me. Like, we're all aware of this, like, orientation of how a controller works. This has a lot of extra features, but we're not talking about this awesome little thing right now. We're talking about this guy. So, first thing you'll notice is that the grips actually bend upward so that when you hold it, it actually presses slightly into the ball of your hand. And it's surprisingly comfortable. It is super weird because instinctually you want to do this. You want to like make sure that you're touching this area because this is usually like your grip spot for a controller. But the way that this is balanced, and it is oddly lightweight, the way that this is balanced is that it presses into the ball of your hand so that it ergonomically actually like sits really steady and doesn't shift around and stuff if for some reason you're shaking it. So that is one of the things. Another thing is this is the first controller I ever had that had back paddles. This I had never dreamed of before, is that you have one on each side here that click very quickly. Another thing is that it's integrated into the back plate in an interesting way. So the battery is under here. So you take off the back plate. This is actually where the buttons are. So they're extremely simple buttons. So they're not going to be variable depression triggers. It's just like, it's a click. It's all it needs to be, in my opinion, especially with how this device is intended to be used. Now, because of the size of the device and having to keep it lightweight, it does not have any, what the hell is it called? Rumble. But I'm to a point in my life that I never use Rumble on anything, so I'm used to that. Instead, they managed to put the batteries for it in here. And one of my favorite things about it, if I can get this to show, is that it has this little pushy bit here. And when you push that, it automatically ejects the battery for you and makes it easier to get it out. And then when you click it into place, this, in a very satisfying way, clicks back down. And I believe that is the actuation point for it, because if you're looking in here, you're like, well, where is the actuation for the back paddles, right? It's strange. But when you put this on here, click it in, the up here is where they're actuating. You can do it from down here if you want, but this is where the actual press is. So those little things are not just to hold your battery in place. I love that this is a piece of tech that, like, this one part literally serves dual purposes. Like, that is, if you're like me and you lost your back paddle for like 8 months and then found it in the back of a drawer somewhere, you're able to press these and basically, not as well, get the same thing to happen. So this is where the actual actuation is happening. So see how it fits like this. These are both, this is a variable pull, this is a click. So this is one of the first controllers I had that had like variable pull on the trigger itself. Before I get to that, because this controller is intended to be used, oh, the flashing thing is bothering me. I'm going to just pop out one battery. Stop. Go to sleep. So the controller is intended to be used a specific way. So you'll see on this side that, well, you'll see on both sides, both of these are flat dials and they are clicky. You can click them at various points. From my understanding, it registers clicks here, 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 and here. So it can figure that out. What makes this fascinating and what makes this, like, I believe, like a historical piece of tech that's very important, is that I never click these when I play a game. I do this. This is me hitting X. This is me hitting B. This is me hitting A. This is me hitting a completely different thing that I have, I intend to be like a turbo, or I want this to be my left trigger. This entire thing is an extremely sensitive touchpad. So is this one. This one is, there's no proper cross to work with here. So instead you have this, and you can move your finger around and it will detect every spot. There's even, I can't show you both at once, but trust me, if you open this up with the Steam software, you can do a check and like have it follow your finger, which is very cool. So this was released, like, I remember it, I will check my work, but I remember this coming out around the same time as they were introducing big picture mode, which was supposed to be the way to consoleize the Steam experience, and a lot of people hated it at first. But this came out kind of contemporarily to that. And one of the most fascinating things is like the way they marketed this device was like, you can play keyboard and mouse games with our Steam controller. And they're right, actually. Like, I played a lot of, I think Civilization 4 on this Steam controller, because this surface here is so sensitive that you can use it as a mouse. Like, I could move over here and then click, and that's my left click. Or I can move over here and right click, and that's like to hold and to bring up like a right click menu. And it works surprisingly well. And there's something about the way that they designed the tracking on it that, so if you keep your thumb in the center and then you move it a little bit, the mouse would move slightly away. And if you moved it all the way towards the edge of the plane, then it would move much faster, much further. So after like an hour of adjusting, you get very used to just navigating like this. And I have unfortunately never like put my hands on a Steam Deck, but I'm a nerd. I know a lot about the Steam Deck. Basically, the technology that they use on the Steam Deck to do those panels at the bottom, those little squares that can double as your mouse, that idea started here. And it can be done with both sides of this completely separately. It is also really good for accessibility stuff. So this controller, if you plug it into Steam, oh wait, there's one more feature. Hold on, before I get into how it's meant to be used, there's one more cool feature. It doesn't have any vibration, but it's fully gyro. Like, I forget what the game was I was playing, but I was playing an FPS game, and I was able to just do this, and like, it was so precise that I could play a shooter game with it. And now gyro is kind of like, we're finally getting to a point where gyro is included in controllers, but this was the first one that I ever put hands on that had something like that. So let's get into very quickly how this is meant to be used before I end up talking too much. So when you connect a controller to big picture mode, and now to normal Steam, I think. This used to be exclusive to big picture mode, which for some fucking reason, now everybody can do it even outside of big picture mode, but you can customize a controller, obviously. And one of the reasons why it has the back paddles, it has like different levels of pulling on the triggers, is that there's supposed to be a difference from like just like slightly pulling a trigger and then holding it down. They wanted that to be different. They wanted, if you hold one of the back paddles, that is different than holding both back paddles. And the idea was that to make a controller that was compatible with games that were for PC, which especially at the time was the MO of the entire Steam marketplace, like, there was a time when a lot of PC games did not come with controller support that baked in, even games that you would imagine would have that. And this was a solution for that, because you could play a keyboard and mouse game, and like if I'm playing like a Dragon Age and I need access to like all of my spells, then I would set, don't look at me while, go away, shoot. So I would set up my controller. So if I hold back trigger and press up, I would cast my first spell. If I press here, I would cast my second, third, fourth, fifth, and then I would do a completely different set if I held the right back paddle. And then I could do an entire different setup for not holding it at all. And the way that Big Picture Mode's new controller layout support worked was every single piece of this machine, like even the gyro, like if you pulled up and pressed a button, you could connect a specific action to that. I think the first place I heard about this is because I've been interested in video game accessibility for a very long time, and people were talking about how, like, I think this sucker sold for like 70, 80, $90, but for an extremely accessible controller, like it was magical. Because imagine you're somebody who has trouble with one hand, so you tend to play only with your right hand. You can set it up so, like, I'm moving around my character with this, I'm using my actions here. If I hold down my back paddle, suddenly this becomes camera mode, and then I can swing my camera around very quickly and then let go. It was a huge, huge, huge deal for stuff like that. Okay, I don't want this video to get too long because I want to be able to upload it to Tumblr, but this is my Steam controller. It is a really fucking cool piece of video game history. We'll talk about it some more. Bye.